Program note for our listeners, this is an international version. Sure, yeah, it's the #1 podcast in West Virginia when it comes to sports. But as you know, the tentacles of Three Guys Before the Game are far-reaching. We're going overseas. We're going transcontinental with our guest as we kick off our summer series of Three Guys Before the Game. Special guest is Chase Harler. We'll get with him in just a little bit. Good to have you with us here.
Real quick, not to throw your flow off, but thank God the Big 12 didn't release the release about the show. They have no shot at getting what time it is in Hungary.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's actually like June 17th or something.
Harler's in
so
Hungary.
Far ahead.
Harler's in Hungary. He's celebrating the 4th of July there today. It's unprecedented.
And the Big East has it at Christmas time. Or Big 12. Whatever league it is.
Big 12 put it down in Central. So we're just, all right, let's do this thing. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. What do? They sell family fun. Premier pontoon boat dealer in our state. Visit them at LouWendellMarineSales.com. LouWendellMarineSales.com. If you're into that space, pontooning, and you go like, where's the best place? They're the best place because they've been doing it for over 4 decades. Like if that business was going to sink, see what I did there? It would have sunk a long time ago. That baby's still floating. Pontoons, you name it, parts, sales, service, they got them. That Avalon boat series that they sell, made all here in the United States. Selling family fun, Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Three Guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Three Guys also brought to us by the Burdette Camping Center. Happen to be the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at BurdetteCamping.com. And right now they've got an offer that's the all-time offer. Like, if it was like a Godfather offer, it'd be like, I made them an offer they couldn't refuse. We're talking about a Forest River Rockwood ultralight fifth wheel, 2445 WS, $10,000 off, 10,000 American dollars off. We'll have to do the calculation for Chase Harler because they don't even use euros over there. They got their own money in Hungary.
You think he's got that down?
Oh yeah, he's got it down. Yeah,
like via his phone, or do you think he just knows it?
Head. Super smart.
Oh, he's a smart kid, yeah.
Very smart kid. Went to Wheeling Central.
Fair point.
I mean, yeah. Three Guys also brought to us by, oh dear, don't look at our set if those of you that are watching. I mean, what are you going, what happened? Well,
don't look at our set. I mean, you can't see anything else.
Here's the deal, man.
It's the whole set.
So if you're a regular, you know that months ago now, Greg Hunter and I were driving back from the Go Mart in Flatwoods. He went and got some stuff. I said, you drive to finish the trip. He took out a fly rod length Slim Jim and started to like cast with it. Well, it's become kind of a storyline of this program. So that has allowed us to form a partnership with the good folks at Gomart.
Sure, they've been great.
Go for good times, go for Gomart. Well,
great activation.
There's the Hunter. There's the Hunter slide. The night. That's the night he took out the fly rod Slim Jim. Good thing I was in the LaRose Ford F-150 because he took the entire back portion of the truck for the Slim Jim storage. Anyway. So Gomart hears about this. We get a partnership going, and they're terrific, right? Go for good times, go for Gomart. Well, guess what happened? The folks at Slim Jim have now found out about our impassioned love.
That's a good shot
for the Slim Jim. And this week,
did Taylor take that shot, or we have somebody else working today? I mean, that's a heck of a shot.
Hey, you know he's been going to camera direction school.
Apparently, that's
so that's
the best shot in the history of the program.
But that don't wait a second. Put your arm up to the side of the box. Show people how long those are because you get a little depth. Yes, that's how big those Slim Jim. See, that's how big those things are.
Well, yeah, you can't say I'm blocked.
And I said this before the show started. I said, "Let me see the Slim Jim." Okay, so there's different sizes. There's the fly rod. Right? You can fly rod. These are 3 times bigger. Yeah, they're shorter. This is the old school nightstick. Like, you know, like when Andy Griffith and Barney would walk, you know, and they would go down there and they had a nightstick on the side of their thing. Like if someone got out of hand, wrap them right. That's a big.
You know what it also is, given the season we're in? J.J. Weatherholt might be able to hit 375 with this. Weatherholt goes in, right? He could drive it to left with this.
Yeah, it'd be a good one.
We got spicy and regular.
Yes, we do. And right now at Gomart, as Easter approaches, they've also got that unbelievable deal going on with the Reese's stuff, the 52-pound Reese's eggs that they sell. Go to Gomart and right now get the egg extravagance prizes till the end of the month of April. $500 Gomart gift card. You can qualify by visiting their website at gomart.com.
Don't mind me. I'm going to move some of this stuff because you can't. I mean, there's no.
Understood.
Otherwise, we just shouldn't be on video.
Understand.
Although this Macho Man holder is nice.
I know it is.
One of the all-time great wrestlers, of course.
We'll be giving
former St. Louis Cardinal.
We'll be giving one of those away at our live event, which is coming up on April the 21st, Friday. More details on that coming up.
Speaking of, we got a lot of swag up there to give away on that April 21st event.
Oh, I know.
Shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff.
I know. Hand warmers. All right, let's do this thing. Our first guest of the summer series, we stayed in the state of West Virginia as far as a native son, but he's in Hungary, and he's playing professional basketball, Mountaineer through and through. Please welcome to the show, Chase Harler. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. I called you the other day to set this up, and you still have a regular West Virginia number. You're working the 304 area code. So I happen to be driving over there, Doug Hill Road, where Hugs was born there and raised on Doug Hill Road. I mean,
yeah,
you ever been?
Well known.
It's kind of a weird. It's a windy road, right?
Sure.
So lots of times calls drop there.
You got some dead zones there?
Yeah. But I'm talking to Harler. Harler's in Hungary.
It's undefeated.
Harler's in Hungary.
Yeah.
Sounded like he was in the truck with me talking into my ear.
There's much better cell service international. We used to do Ruoff in Germany like he was sitting in Star City. We get Mercado down through Fairmont and it drops. I know. International's amazing.
You can't get somebody in core unincorporated, right? You can't go to Fraser's Bottom and get a good cell phone. My man's in Hungary. Sounds like he's in like perfect stereo sound.
Did you check with him, make sure there's not roaming charges?
No. Let me tell you something. He's a smart cookie. So what is your phone plan deal right now? What are you working?
So I'm with Verizon still.
Yeah.
Free play. Free play.
But I'm with Verizon. But my phone's on airplane mode the whole time I'm over here.
Oh.
So I only can use my phone on Wi-Fi. However, my apartment has Wi-Fi. All the restaurants I go to has Wi-Fi. The gym has Wi-Fi. And then I actually have a separate phone where I put a Hungarian SIM card in.
Oh yeah.
And I can use that as like a personal hotspot if I need to, like on the road or on the bus and stuff like that. That's when I use the hotspot.
Perfect.
Very smart, well done way to use the system. When you were a sophomore, did you ever think you'd use the word Hungarian SIM card in a sentence? Did that ever cross your mind? You're scoring 52 a game. You ever thought, you know what, someday I'm going to say Hungarian SIM card?
Yeah.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
I really had no interest in continuing the play probably until maybe like my junior. Actually, I take that back. After my sophomore year, when I went to China by myself, that kind of opened my eyes to that whole experience and seeing new cultures and things along those lines. And I think that's when it kind of sparked my interest.
How about that? See that? You give a kid an opportunity, and he went like, whoa. Hey,
There
same
it is
thing.
again.
Nathan Adrian got nervous when he went past Goshen Road, right? I mean, he'd get nervous going past Goshen Road.
Getting to the Coliseum that first day for him, that was a long trip, right? He's like, I don't know. I'm out of the area. I got a couple streets over here. I don't know.
He came down Grafton Road. He got, and now my man, he's here, there, and everywhere. International rock star. I think in all seriousness, that's wonderful. And oftentimes, you have to have a little bit of that experience to go like, holy heck, there's a whole different world out there, right? And sometimes we become so myopic with where we are, we forget, like guess what, man? There's like hundreds of millions of people that live a whole different life all over the world every single day. And it's great to be able to kind of experience that.
Yeah, that's the same way, I view it for sure.
Do you get out and about Or are you basketball all the time, or do you get some free time to go out? Have you traveled any over there?
Yeah. So this is my third season. Each year has been different. So kind of backtrack a little bit. I was in Lithuania my rookie year, the COVID year. So, we started playing 2 games a week for 2 straight weeks. We shut down the league for about 5 weeks because of COVID. And then we ran it back for about 8 weeks straight of 3 games a week. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 8 straight weeks leading into playoffs. We lost first round of the playoffs. So then I had no free time, right? Because we're obviously playing 3 games a week, practices. Last year I was in Sweden. We would do 2 games a week. Smaller town. I didn't have a car in Sweden. Didn't need a car in Sweden just because everything was so close. But 2 games a week with practices, not a ton of time. So this year is my first year having 1 game a week. We usually play either Saturday or Sundays. So throughout the week, 1 practice this day, 2 practices this day. I'm in the city of Pécs, which is 2 hours south of Budapest, and beautiful city, 160,000 people. Great downtown area. They call it the square. Pretty much 2 or 3 streets of maybe 4 streets of restaurants and bars and things like that. Great nightlife. So I get down there a decent amount. And then, like I just mentioned, Budapest, I've been there 4 or 5 times. I mean, it's a top 5 city in my opinion. Like when I'm done playing, I'll get back to Budapest for sure.
See, what a wealth of experience. I mean, he's ripping off Budapest and those cities like he's talking about Follansby. He's giving you like Follansby. He's right on it.
Wait, 30-second timeout. Now, what you just said something wrong. I caught this from him the other day. Now, say the name of that city with the B.
Budapest.
Oh, Budapest.
See,
what did I say, Budapest?
Everyone puts the. No, you're right. I mean, Americans put the T on it.
Yeah. See, I've been here for about 8 months, 7, 8 months. So I'm picking up lingo a little bit.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How much English is spoken? Do you struggle at all not being able to be a native speaker?
Yeah, so to be honest, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, the summer time's like the free agent, the recruiting process, I guess. And when I spoke to the coach before coming here, he was like, "You'd be the only American." And prior to that, I was in Sweden where everybody speaks English. I had 4 other Americans on my team, super close-knit team, like still in contact to this day. So, fast forward to this situation, before I even got into it, I was like, oh man, this might be tough, like, the language barrier. But honestly, since I've gotten here, my teammates speak good English. Since like Budapest is like obviously the most famous town or city in Hungary, right? Like the most tourist, but the city I'm in is called Pécs. It's a top 3 city in Hungary. So this is also a tourist town. So like when I mentioned like the downtown, the square area, like all the restaurants, all the people working in the restaurants, they speak English. There's no issue there. Like I said, my teammates speak English, coaches speak English. I've adapted to it. You know what I mean? This is my 3rd year. I kind of know what to expect to some degree.
What happens in the huddle when they're drawing things up? Does he do it twice? Does it go straight English? How's that go?
So beginning of the year, we had a Hungarian coach. Halfway through the year, we switched to a Serbian coach. And for whatever reason, the Hungarian coach would speak mostly Hungarian in the huddle, and then my teammates would translate it for me. But then when we got a Serbian coach, he could speak Hungarian, but I would honestly say 80-90% of our practices are in English.
Huh.
So there hasn't been an issue with that at all.
And you are the only American on your roster, correct?
Yep, I'm the only import on my team.
Okay, so all the other guys are natives from Hungary.
Hungary. Yep.
You mentioned 3 levels that you've played at now: Lithuania, Sweden, and now in Hungary. Can you give us a good comparison to the level of play compared to what we would know as far as either Big 12, G League? What is it?
Okay. Yeah, it's not Big 12 athletically by any means. So to put it in kind of like rankings, I guess. When I was in Lithuania, I was in 2nd division of Lithuania, Lithuania is a very good basketball country. 2nd division. Moved up to Sweden top league, which was definitely a step up overall from 2nd division Lithuania. And then you could probably compare, Sweden, just because each team had 4 Americans or 4 imports, right?
Right.
So that ups will play for sure. Sweden was probably compared to, you could probably throw like low major Division One
Okay.
probably overall. But the thing is, it's so hard to compare, and I'm sure any person that's played over here, it's hard to compare because the game's never going to be as athletic as it is overall in America. But a lot of these teams are they're just because they're not relying on athleticism. The IQ is much higher,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely.
You can get away just being athletic to a certain degree in America, and then over here, guys aren't as athletic, but still very high level players. But now for this season, I'm in a kind of unique situation where my team traditionally has been in the top division Hungary for the last 30 years. What traditionally, right? So the way it works over here is if you come in last place in the first division, the winner of the second division moves up, last place drops down. So the team I'm on,
love it.
Yeah, relegation, exactly. So the team I'm on had a down year last year, dropped down to the second division. Brought in the big guns, the superstar to come in, win the league and get up. So that's kind of what the vision for me to come here was, and so far we're kind of on pace to do that. But the second division mostly are like top heavy, like the top 4 teams probably can compare, or I'm sorry, can compete in Sweden. However, the probably bottom 5 teams would get destroyed in Sweden. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's 4 or 5 teams really competing to get into that first division and stay in first division in Hungary.
So if it is heavily skill-based and IQ is really, really key, then that makes you a really good player for that league.
Yeah, I've had a good season. I've always, once I graduated from West Virginia and just got a little taste of, my first couple of weeks in Lithuania, like I knew my game was better suited over here. Maybe, just the style of play at West Virginia, kind of my role at West Virginia. And, when you come over here, it was like, I obviously enjoyed what I did at West Virginia, but to almost like start a new basketball chapter was so exciting to me because for 4 years, I knew what I was supposed to do, and I was good at what I did for Huggins, and he knew what to expect out of me. But to completely almost like re-identify yourself has been an unbelievable, an unbelievable journey for myself, and I feel like I'm almost like enjoyed basketball more again. You know what I mean?
Right. I get it.
And that starts with what, Chase? That starts with you're being asked to score, right? You just said you've been brought over, and you're the guy. Like, here's the ball, go get buckets for us.
Yeah, for the most part, I've been a primary scorer on each my teams, and kind of like I mentioned earlier, being the only import on my team this year, that's definitely my biggest responsibility is to produce. And like I said, we're in second place right now. We have a really good team, and playoffs start in about 2 weeks, so starting to count down the days a little bit.
160,000 people in the city where you're playing. Yep. Are you recognized yet when you walk into the square?
I wouldn't say that. Couple of the restaurants I go to a lot, they notice me, but I would say that was the biggest difference between this year and last year. When I was in Sweden, 60,000 people, and the city loved basketball. I mean, we had a really good team, and our gym would hold 3,000 people. We'd have 3,200 every game.
That's awesome.
So we had a great crowd, and the community was awesome. But here, obviously a bigger city, we have 2 teams in town, so not as a huge following, but still we get a decent crowd at our games.
Games on TV, games on radio. What's the deal?
Yeah, so they stream most of them on YouTube. All of our home games are streamed.
So we can watch you. We could watch you.
We got to watch this.
Yeah, honestly, the game on Sunday is going to be the biggest game of the year. We're in second place. Teams in first place we play against. We're kind of solidified our seeds for the playoffs. However, this is a cross-town rivalry. Like it's like Duke and North Carolina, baby. We're 5 minutes apart.
I like it.
I pass their gym every time I go to my gym, so that'll be a good one.
Okay, that's Sunday. So translate that. Like what time here? Do the quick math for us.
Yeah, plus 6 hours. So we play at 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Noon.
So noon at this time. Yeah,
that'd be perfect. Noon on Sunday. So folks, getting around a big pot of pasta because everyone makes pasta, spaghetti, and meatballs on Sundays.
Yeah.
And turn it on YouTube's. It's on the YouTube's, and it doesn't cost you anything. So what would they search?
Yeah.
What would they search to get?
Yeah, they would search my team name, which is PVSK Panthers. Comes right up
Oh,
live
that's good.
stream.
P as in Paul, V as in Victor, S as in Sam, K as in Kite. Did you say, what was the second part? Panthers?
Panthers.
Panther.
PVSK Panthers.
Very good.
Yep.
NCAA tournament's getting ready to wrap up. You will always be remembered as one of the team members of the Mountaineers that got shut out from playing in the NCAA because of COVID. And I remember the day like it was yesterday in the lobby at the Kansas City Marriott where the word came down. And we're walking around looking at each other going like, are you freaking kidding me? Do you think about that more now when the tournament's being played here? Does that stick with you?
Yeah, I've had that conversation a couple of times with people back home. And yeah, it was a tough day. It was just a weird day. It was like in the back of my mind during that whole process, I was like, they're going to cancel everything. But it was kind of one of those thoughts you didn't want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And when they actually did it, it was just like, oh my gosh, they actually did it. And, but yeah, I definitely think about it. Because that really would have been my first year of actually getting to play a meaningful time in the NCAA tournament. You know what I mean? My freshman and sophomore year, we made it to the Sweet 16. Wasn't in the rotation a ton. My junior year was a down year. And then, I felt like we were playing our best basketball going right into the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything kind of just happened.
That was wild. Remember, if you remember correctly, you two were on the bus coming back after it had been canceled. Chase called in from the bus to Sportsline. He was an on-site reporter reporting live from the bus.
I think that is right. I kind of remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah, I kind of remember.
Because the reason why, because you just shirked your duties. I mean, it was your segment. We were talking to you. You talked for like 30 seconds, got bored of talking to us, said, here's Harler, which was actually better than having you. So it worked out.
Well, I mean, I was trying to, but you think people would want to hear from me or want to talk to one of the guys?
That's what I'm saying.
Impacted?
It worked out great. Rather hear from Chase.
Yeah. What's your boy Logan Rout into?
Big Logan Rout is currently playing in Japan.
Oh, how about
that? So yeah, Logan and I talk all the time. Play video games, FaceTime, all that. But the only bad part is this is his first year out of Europe. So, think about my time difference, right? I'm plus 6 hours from America. I'm pretty sure he's plus 13 hours from America.
Yeah, you're right. He is.
That's plus 7 for me. So I got to keep that in mind a little bit when I'm calling him. It's 4 a.m.
We got to get one of these guys needs to consult in the era of NIL. One of these guys with us has to consult with the Big 12 office. I mean, they can't do the translations. These guys are. I mean, he knows Japan's time. Exactly. Chase probably has a bunch of clocks lined up there, like CNN or those news networks, BBC,
Lumpur,
all of them.
Malaysia,
Madagascar.
Mm-hmm.
Have them all. He's got them all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we talk food?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so you mentioned on multiple occasions the square and the restaurants in about a 4-block area.
Yeah.
So we I don't know if you know this or not, but we've been certified as international culinary consumers, and this is it's a whole process you have to go through, and we've got the certification, which means that we can go to any country, put the card down. And in other words, it does a lot of things.
This podcast has been approved for similar.
Right, exactly. As we got into this thing, it started with a controversy about the validity of San Marzano tomatoes in Italy that had to be grown in volcanic soil. But you don't need to hear that. But anyway, so if we were to go to Hungary, what does one consume there?
Goulash.
Okay, break it down for us.
It's really a stew. It's honestly like a vegetable. It's like a vegetable soup, and they put beef in it. And the biggest difference from, in my opinion, being in Europe for 3 years, my wife says the exact same thing. It's the freshness of all the food. Mm-hmm. So most of the restaurants, like I mentioned down at the square, they buy locally each day. So the carrots you're eating, the tomatoes you're eating, the meat you're eating, it hasn't been sitting back there for a few days. It's the day of or the day before.
That's a novel concept.
You can really taste it, to be honest. But goulash is really, really popular.
Okay, time out. Wait a second, time out. Okay, goulash is popular. Obviously, we've heard of goulash, but you're eating it at the origin point. When you walk in, is that your go-to meal? Do you get it a lot?
So I don't order it a ton just because in my contract I get lunch provided me every day at a restaurant.
Excuse me?
What?
Time
What?
out. Go back on that one. You
You
do
what?
what?
That's a normal thing. I would when you talk to other people, you should bring that up because a lot of guys have that worked into their contract. So I
First
get
we've
lunch
heard of this.
provided to me every day.
Same restaurant?
Yeah, sorry.
Same restaurant?
Same restaurant. However, different options every day.
I love this.
Yeah, honestly, I eat a lot of like it's nothing like you would. It's nothing like crazy, like breaded chicken with different toppings on it,
Yeah.
a lot of rice. Trying to think about eating anything like
Have
really
you have you
crazy.
eaten anything there that you said you tried to spit it out of your mouth before, like, to get this away from me?
Yeah, I'm not a huge like fish guy. I had like fish stew, just was way too fishy for me.
Well, a fish stew is going to be pretty good if you do it right. That's pretty good.
Little extra, as the kids say.
Yeah.
Little extra.
Yeah, a little.
Is there any
But
water?
yeah, honestly, a lot of chicken, a lot of different variations of chicken, and like I mentioned before, it's fresh. You know what I mean?
Okay, hold on. I need to know the process when you walk into the restaurant that provides the food. Everybody in there knows you. Is there ever a battle? Do you have to say, no, I don't need the check, I've got that? Do you leave a tip? How's this work?
So it's a what would it even be like? It's like a lunch line at school, right? You know, you get your
You get a tray?
your tray.
Yeah.
You walk up there, and this is the only bad part. They don't speak great English, but they know who I am. So I just give them a big smile. They smile at me. They know I always want the chicken. So if they have chicken, they say chicken. And they yep. I don't even care how it's or what it is. I get the chicken. If not, there's a lot of pointing going along. You know, I'm pointing here. What's this? You know, maybe they're like, I'm not going to want this. Okay, I don't want that.
Yes.
Go through the line and they write your name down. So Chase Harler was here, and
Boom.
Write how much it was.
Oh, that's
That was
good.
the end of it.
That's actually an easier
Yeah.
process probably than having to sit down and deal with wait. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good process.
Ordering the food
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Pointing is undefeated in international travel. It really is.
Yeah.
Very underrated. Pointing is key.
But what I've noticed about the pointing is you got to be a little careful with. You can't be too aggressive, and you have to have a friendly face when you do it.
This is
Because if
great.
you come off like kind of like I want you're pointing at it, but you're
Yeah.
not really like smiling.
Yeah.
You'll be like, whoa, this guy has an attitude. No,
Right.
walk in, give him a little head nod, a wave, smile, point.
No,
smile.
you're exactly no. So actually, three
Yeah.
phases
That's
to
a
it.
great breakdown.
Well, yeah, there's
Well
three.
done.
Well, there's another phase. There's another phase to keep this in. Absolutely right with the smile. You give them
Yeah.
the smile, and you go. You open up your eyes a little bit, and then you give it a general point and give it the head nod, and
Yeah.
then when they start, you go. You give them this one. You roll. You go. You give them that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
They give them You give them that, and they go like, "We're good. We're good."
Yeah.
No, yeah, you don't want to be the
So-
ugly American.
Yeah. So when so I've had some visitors this year, this season, the most I've ever had. My parents were over here for almost 3 weeks beginning of the year. And my parents haven't traveled a ton out of the country. So kind of what we're talking about, I'm used to the pointing, the smiling. My dad thinks the louder you speak, even though they can't speak English, if you
Yeah.
just talk really loud English,
Correct.
somehow they can just understand it.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
he is talking very loud in the restaurant, like, I want margarita pizza. And they're like, yeah, just point at like, no, I got it. Pizza and Pepsi. I'm like, okay, we gotta take this back a notch.
Yeah. Did he bring his guitar?
No, he didn't bring the guitar over now, sadly.
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, that's true. Dad's a heck of a guitar player. John, good guy.
Yeah.
I saw did your mom tell you she saw me? I saw your mom somewhere. Why can't I remember where I saw you? I had a nice conversation with her. I don't know where the heck we were.
Was it the fish fry?
Probably was. Yeah,
Maybe it
probably was. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. I hadn't seen her in a long time. Yeah, it was.
Wasn't
yeah,
it that? Wasn't it that up Cabela's or anything there?
No, it wasn't.
Up in the wheeling area,
No,
gotta get off
no,
that
it
exit, all
was-
that stuff back there.
It was down here at the fish fry. Okay, another
Yeah.
thing we need to get into. One of our topics of late has been the fact of paying taxes for foreign players.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of under the belief that
Hold on one second. Hold on. You reserve all rights to deny and not answer any questions here, okay? Just be
Okay.
prepared. You may just have to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
I'll do it
continue.
really super simple. How are your taxes paid? Do you pay American tax?
I don't pay American taxes on the money I make from playing basketball.
Yeah, which is what you thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've got 92 CPAs that have texted me in the last 2 weeks saying like, well, you got 1995. Okay, so explain, because I talked to them earlier about that this week. Okay, go ahead. Explain how that's done then.
Yeah. So when from my understanding, I haven't gotten in trouble yet. So let's hopefully nothing happens after this podcast.
Oh, you're doing it legally. I know what you're doing. I mean, it's totally legal. Listen.
So, so when you negotiate contracts, you always negotiate net profit. So, whatever your set amount per month is, you're negotiating net profit. So obviously they're paying you more. However, they're paying the country's taxes. So my team is paying Hungary taxes.
Right.
So when they send money, it goes into my bank account. But there are, like, just say I do want to continue to play for another 10 years, like, there are some benefits going down the road to claim that money. Obviously, when you need to go get a loan, you have to prove some income.
Right.
Like at this point in my life, I go to the bank and need money from them. So, there's no reason for me to claim that money, but down the road there might be. But yeah, when you negotiate contract, it's all net profit, and the team takes care of the taxes.
Yeah, it works well. Okay, you mentioned your wife.
Yes.
You have the most famous engagement in the history of, I don't want to say West Virginia, but he's on the list. He's on the list in West Virginia, definitely in Morgantown, and absolutely inside the Coliseum.
No doubt.
Okay.
We can maybe even just say east side of the Mississippi.
You potentially. Yeah, it's potential.
Maybe top 10.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think anything is in conversation mode.
Yep.
We'd have to go through the points of it, but yeah, you're in there. So for those that may not remember, Chase proposed to his wife Lindsay center court at the Coliseum. It was fantabulous. They were married this past July, but at this point, she's back here in school. She's going to become a veterinarian, correct?
Correct.
So what you're doing is like really old school. Like that's what used to happen, Brad. Like guys would go overseas, but they're normally this way.
Yeah.
Like the immigrant
come from Europe this way.
Yeah, like my dad, for example. He comes over here, married, but then they stay over here, and he's just there doing the work, sending the money back home, sending the money home, and then the wife eventually will join them.
Build it up what you got here, and then we're going to send over for everybody to come over. We're going to send over. Very, very popular here in West Virginia, too.
So you're by yourself now, and she's how far along from being done?
So she's done May, 2024 she's done.
A year from now, plus a couple months.
Yeah. 14 months-ish.
Could she become a veterinarian in Hungary?
Yeah, we've had talks about that. Not, in Hungary per se. It would have to be the right situation. So technically when she's done, when she passes her boards, or I think that's called boards, she can practice in Europe. Like, she's certified to practice in Europe. However, it would have to be the right situation.
Sure.
English-speaking dominant country, or even if it's not an English-speaking dominant country, it has to be a large enough city where, the potential of people speaking English is much higher.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's cool. That's super.
Yeah.
Has she been able to get over there and see you? She visited?
Yeah, so she came over 3 times this year. She came over in November. I actually got to go home for Christmas, which was unbelievable. That doesn't happen too often. I somehow finessed that. And then she came back over with me around New Year's for another 10 days. And she actually just left 2 weeks ago. So she probably was here 6 weeks total.
Oh, that's good.
So she would be potentially open to living overseas for a little bit if you keep playing?
Yeah, it'd have to be, like I said, I know.
Yeah, I get it.
But I mean, that door isn't completely closed. And, I give her a ton of credit because, first of all, she's studying 16 hours a day. That's just brutal. You could not pay me to go to school and study 16 hours a day. It'd be very difficult. It had to be a very large amount of money.
Yeah.
But, throughout, we're obviously gone. Well, I'm gone 8-9 months out of the year. And even though she's super busy, she could easily, but she never has. That's why I give her so much credit, and just be like, do you really have to keep playing? Like, she's never made me feel guilty, maybe second guess myself. Even when I thought I might be done playing, like beginning of this year, think about my summer. I had my bachelor party, my wedding, my honeymoon, just constant interaction with people, going into pretty much isolation. per se. Just, getting used to the culture and everything, my teammates. And I mean, the first 2 weeks were like, I'm leaving, like I'm coming home. And during that process, she was like, "You're not coming home. Like, what are you doing?"
Good
And I
for
was
her.
like, "Okay, yeah."
Good for
You know
her.
what I mean? So, like, yeah. So I think anyone in my position, doesn't have to be a wife, but just anyone in your position, and someone in my position, you have to have such a supportive, people back home. She's been that for me from day one.
That's probably an underreported, under-talked about part of what you and others are doing, right? The isolation of being in a strange country where you don't have a lot of people to hang out with. You just have the basketball. That's a pretty good point right there that I don't think we talk about enough.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's tough. But like I said, once the first couple months are usually the most difficult, and last year was much easier just because of the other Americans. Like I said, my teammates are great. They're super nice. They speak English. However, you lose that, in the locker room when I'm the only American, they're not going to speak English, right?
Right.
I don't expect them to speak English. When they talk to me, they speak English, right? But when they're joking around, laughing, like you're kind of out of the loop. So sometimes I just start laughing.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I totally get it. Yeah, that is the hard part of it. I mean, Adrian goes into a little bit of he's by himself there, just buys chicken breast, grows lemon trees in his house, just kind of wanders around, right? I mean, that's the hard part of it.
Yeah. Were those lemon trees illegal?
Maybe not. So, how was the winter there?
Let me tell you. I keep going back to Sweden. When I was in Sweden, let me think.
Here comes a snowstorm.
Late October-ish, mid-October to about February, average 3 to 4 hours of sunlight a day.
Oh yeah.
Average.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
And on top of that, nonstop snow. Freezing cold. Negative 15 at one point. It went 2 weeks without literally not stop snowing the whole time. Average temperature in winters 5 degrees, 10 degrees.
Yeah, that's not real good.
However, here, no snow. Right now it's 65 and sunny outside.
Wasn't aware.
I'm parallel with Italy. We're kind of like on the same line.
Gotcha.
So it's warmer here. I think it probably got down to 25, maybe, not even 30, maybe. During the winter, because it's kind of like West Virginia weather. When it's not super cold, it's kind of just rainy and crappy. We went through that little spell, but honestly, probably the last
all due respect
month and a half on average, it's 60 and sunny.
So
I can't.
The thing that oftentimes people that haven't been over there, it surprises them is how close other places are. Like for us, if we were to fly to California and we're in the air for whatever it is, 4+ hours, right? You're still in the United States, right? You could go Miami, you could go Miami to Seattle, right? And it's like 6.5, 7 hours. It's almost like a trans kind of. So like you're close to other stuff. As you said, you're in line with Italy. Like, have you ventured out at all? Have you sniffed around at all? What's close to you?
So during one of our little breaks, we had like 5 days off. I mentioned my teammates from last year I'm still good friends with. He plays in Belgium, Mons, Belgium. So he had some time off. I flew to Brussels, and like you just said, the flight 2-hour nonstop direct, 130 USD, not round trip. Because once you get into Europe, I'm so used to saying that.
Yeah.
So when you get into Europe, it's so easy. It's easier to travel, one, and for the most part, it's cheaper while you're in Europe. So anyway, I flew to Brussels, and then we drove to. We took a train to Paris. I was in Paris for 4 days.
See,
we got a train. It was an hour because we were in Little France. I think that's what it's called. But we took an hour and 15-minute train ride there nonstop, and it was like $20.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's like in Morgan, like you could leave Morgantown.
You can't drive to Weston for $20 a gas.
It takes you over 3 hours to get to Princeton from Morgantown, and where you're from, up in Wheeling, I mean, it's a day's trip to get to Princeton from Wheeling. You would be in 19 different countries in Europe.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the public transportation over here is just unbelievable. Like,
oh yeah,
the bus. I mean, I don't have to take the bus, luckily, but the trains are easy. just the trains are the biggest thing. I mean, the trains aren't very popular in America.
Trains. We got heavy trains on this podcast. We're going to get a couple texts now from our train guys.
See, I once advocated that the United States needs to have the same type of train systems that they have overseas. And we had this guy, Ted, jumped all over me and beat the heck out of me about trains. So I walked away from that hill.
Two-part question. I know it's already Sunday morning over there, so we got to get going here at some point. Two parts. If you were to take a geography test today on world geography versus when you were a sophomore at Wheeling Central, how much better would you do today? Because you're whipping off some things here that I don't think you talked about when you were 16.
I would definitely do better. I'm not sure how much better, but I would do better. Absolutely.
Did you know the Hungary was parallel with Italy when you were a sophomore?
He knew where Hungary was.
No, the funny thing about before I go to a country, and it's probably the horrible way to approach it. So like, I don't research anything. So like when I signed to come here, my Lindsay showed me the downtown area on Google, and that was the end of it. I don't look up anything.
I like that. I love that.
However, what I do look up is how the cost of living is. You know, that plays a part. Where when I was in Sweden, they have their own currency, a little bit more expensive there. Lithuania, they use the euros. Here they have their own currency, and it's pretty good living over here.
All right, so let's go. There we go, because that's the next part of the question there is you dropped in a USD, US dollars, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is the financial situation? What's Hungary use? Are you using Hungarian? Using USD? What do you do?
Yeah, they have their currency is called the Hungarian forint. And so like I don't have cash. I just use my credit card works fine over here, and you know the credit card does the conversion for you.
Mm-hmm.
But however, when I first got here, $1 was worth 450 of their currency, and now it's about 350. And they kind of put it in perspective. Like I can go to the grocery store for a week's worth of food, say 5-7 days for under $30.
Yep.
This is classic.
Yep. You just you pulled a drink across the screen a couple times. What are you drinking right now?
A grape Fanta.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They got Fanta back.
Oh yeah, they got Fanta back home. The orange is the number one of the Fanta products, but you went grape.
Very good. Fanta Zero, it looked like there. Fanta Zero.
Yeah, zero. I'm an athlete.
Correct.
Professional athlete.
Professional.
I think that was 375 foreign. So
under $1.
Yeah, 50.
Yeah,
talking foreigns.
Hey, have you
talking foreigns with Harler? That should be the name of the podcast. You just rename talking foreigns with Harler. Yeah, that should have been the podcast.
I think that would confuse people. Have you seen any flying WVs or had any West Virginia interaction whatsoever since arriving on Hungarian soil?
Yeah. So the only interaction I've had, we had an away game in Budapest, probably like 2 months ago, and you know we were out there just shooting around before the game and during warm-ups, and I look across, and the other team's conditioning coach has a West Virginia shirt on.
Excellent,
beautiful.
I'm like, what the heck? I walk over to him. I'm like, do you know what that shirt you're wearing is? He's like, yeah, West. Like, I'm from West Virginia. I played at West Virginia. He's like, oh, that's cool. I got the shirt from. I don't know how he got the shirt, but the reason why he wanted the shirt or he got the shirt was he attended an online lifting and conditioning seminar put on by a strength. It wasn't Kettler. It wasn't Browns. It'd probably be football. I take a guess.
Probably Mike Joseph, probably.
Maybe one of those guys, and that's how he's affiliated with.
Yeah, that's a mind blower.
So
great. he's you're in Budapest and you look over and their strength coach has got a WVU shirt on.
Yeah, it was so, and we lost the game, but that's not.
Yeah, well, things will happen.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 3:00 in the afternoon where you are. You have practice every night. How many nights a week you guys practice?
We have evening practice Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 6:30, and then in the mornings we usually have something. On Wednesdays we just have practice. Yeah. In the morning, I'm sorry, we practice.
So you're playing once a week. We talked to Nate Adrian. He also plays in the Sunday hole. He plays in the Sunday at 6 p.m. hole, just standard over there, and you draw people. When you go to these restaurants, what's the beer of choice there? What are people drinking? Anything good there?
Yeah, they got some very good beer here. One one of my favorite. This is my first year. I've heard stories about it, like guys bringing beers into the locker room. My first year experience, and it's awesome. So anytime we score 100 points in a game, and we score 100 points a lot, like whoever scores the 100th point has to bring a case of beer in.
Oh yeah.
So that's, and we've played 25 games. We probably scored 116 times.
Are you giving the ball up, or are you trying to score the 100th?
Yeah. So I did it one time. I've scored the 100th point, but for the most part, when we're close to that 100, I would say I'm not in the game. Luckily, I don't want to be in the game. They tried to put me in, make me score. I'm nope. I'm just right here.
Gave him a note.
But everybody, the best part, everybody knows. It must be like I don't know if every country is a little different, but everyone knows that. So like, we score 100 point. The fans are going crazy. Our coaches are going crazy. The GM's going crazy.
Awesome.
Everyone's super because a case of beer. But
it's fun.
yeah, they have their own beer. They have their own kind of beer here. One's called a Dreher, pretty good. A Shaproni, something like that. It's pretty good. But the great part about it, they don't, like the 12-ounce cans common in America. No 12-ounce cans.
No.
All about 18-ounce cans.
Yeah. Like those, like back in Australia, right? Those Fosters, like a small drum.
Yeah.
You gotta drink it like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good. Oh, hey, one last other thing. So, like, you're doing remote work back in the U.S., right?
Yep.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so now that you kind of understand my schedule a little bit, a decent amount of free time, one game a week, it was hard for me just to sit here and not really do anything. Started brainstorming a little bit. Honestly, I was on Indeed.com just applying for the most random remote jobs. I can't even explain half of them, just applying, whatever. And then I was thinking, like, why don't I try to do something that, one, will keep me intertwined with the West Virginia community, be still kind of affiliated with the team and everything like that. Reached out to Stephen Ford at Country Roads Trust, sent him an email. We got on a phone call, kind of just explained kind of what I thought I could bring to the table. He was all on board. So since late October, I've been working remotely for Country Roads Trust, reaching out to businesses, setting up some NIL deals. Obviously, I did a majority of them for, trying to help the basketball team. That's just the closest I was with. But now the basketball season's over, trying to broaden my my portfolio a little bit and doing what I can.
That's awesome. You missed the boat on that one, right? You would have been able to make a little NIL had you been here.
I was just talking to someone about that the other day too. Like, I would have taken money from about anybody.
Yeah, see, so it's good. Yeah. That's good though for you. That's much better than just like some data entry position, right? I mean, that's relevant and good, and you can use that longer, right?
Yeah.
You can use that when you're done playing. That's great.
Because eventually, I mean, I would think all roads lead back to West Virginia at some point, right? You got to keep your brand cooking here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, he's been good
great.
He's better.
Been great as we knew he
was going to be great.
That's why we have him on. We wouldn't have him on if we thought we knew he was going to be great.
We kind of brought Adrian. Adrian's almost been kind of like a co-host. So you mind if we check back in with you at various times?
Yeah, just let me know. Hopefully, I can fit you guys in my busy schedule. But other than that, give me a couple days in advance, and let my secretary take care of it, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Are you doing this TBT thing up in Wheeling?
Yeah, so I am going to be involved in some degree if it's playing. I know I'm going to be on the logistics side of it for sure. We haven't talked about roster or anything. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure it can happen. But I'm definitely going to be involved in some regard.
Okay, good. All right, my man.
Hey, real quick, just keep up with the exchange rate of the forint. So next time we talk, we can get back into that. Okay, stay on top of it.
Yeah, it's probably about 350 right now. When I told you it was about 450 when I got here. Let me tell you,
I know.
He's gonna check it right now.
I know he's checking it.
Yeah.
Good. I like it.
Check it real quick.
Yes.
Trust me, I already up.
Yeah.
1 US 2.
Yeah,
right now it's 349.16, so 350 still.
Okay.
Yeah, that would really confuse you. By the way, you'd lose your mind over there trying to figure that one out.
No, because I'm all over time zones. I could do exchange rate on the dollars. No big
Globally?
deal. I'm a time zone expert. I could do the global exchange rate there.
Yeah.
I like numbers. That's what I do. I numbers.
That's true.
You think I couldn't handle the analytics of the
I
exchange rate?
I guess you're right.
Yeah, I got
All
it.
right, my man. Hey, we wish you the best. And again, give me the URL or the team name for Sunday. For those that are listening, this is the 31st that we're recording. So April 2 at noon Eastern time, PVSK Panthers.
On YouTube.
On YouTube's.
Awesome.
PVSK
YouTube,
Panthers.
plural.
You can
Yes,
that way you get it in
Thank you.
stereo. You can watch Chase and the Hungarian PVSK Panthers in action, and it's going to be a dandy. It's the crosstown rival. It's the old
Dude,
matchup.
It's their backyard
Just
brawl.
like Wheeling Central, Bishop Donahue kind of vibes.
Yeah.
John Marshall Park, Lindsley Central, all that good stuff.
Morgantown University,
Yeah, very
kind of
good.
like
Yeah.
border war.
I was kind of I was saying, Northern Panhandle with my.
Awesome. All right, brother. Be good, man. Thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks,
There
Chase.
he is, Chase Harler. I always love doing that.
I do
Those are
too.
good, huh?
Well, and he's on it. All right, we covered a lot of areas there.
Yeah. I mean, he's totally into it.
Exchange rates, transportation,
Sure.
food ordering,
Exactly.
and, of course, the basketball.
Exactly. One of the things that Chase has to be careful of when he's over there is data. You have to be safe with your data. You have to be secure with your data. And if you're a business owner in West Virginia, same rules apply. People are always trying to get into your stuff, correct?
Yes.
That's why the folks at Comax Business Systems are so much more than just a local copier guy. They can handle all of your business data, your IT security, even your phone system. What they want to do and what they do is become your partner. And you can worry about your business, and they can worry about all of your data and your documents. That goes for phone systems as well. Their business phone systems available to you from 1 line to 1,000. They've got it all covered. They'll come in, they'll give you a free quote. Free quote. Here's the phone system. Whether it's a line or 1,000, they can do it. Purchase it, lease it, rent it, whatever works for you. Comax Business Systems. Visit them at ComaxWV.com. That's ComaxWV.com. West Virginia's business data, safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Oh, I forgot to bring it downstairs, but shout out to the people in Wheeling. Spoke there yesterday
Yeah, how was that?
at the Salvation Army Kettlebell Ringer Appreciation Luncheon.
Was this a training session or an inspiration or just a thank you?
Thank you.
Oh,
It was a thank
it was
you.
post.
Oh, yeah, they already did the bell ringing back in 120 grand plus they raised.
Sure. So it was post dated, not predated as a kickoff type of thing.
No, it was a thank you for them.
Okay.
And I talked to a couple of them, and I said, "Now I'd be willing to do that. You do any of those indoors anywhere?" I said, "Nah, it's pretty much outdoor work." I don't know. It's cold.
Yeah, it does.
It gets cold, but they gave me a glass bell that I have upstairs. I was
A
gonna bring.
symbolic or it actually rings?
It rings.
Oh.
It's a different kind of a ring because it's a glass. Ding,
Sure.
ding, more of a tingle than it is a bell. Mountaineer football. You want to do a little?
Sure.
Shall we? So we record, this is Friday morning. We normally don't do these in the morning, but because of scheduling, time zone, international time zone
International, we had to
issues
adjust.
that we had to adjust to because we're very, very nimble. We're very, very nimble. So practice for the Mountaineers Friday, scrimmage Saturday, week 2 will be over, coaches clinic going on this weekend. So a lot of people will be on hand. We'll learn more because this will be like, get it. This will be get it time. One of the things I want to bring up is Shadon Brown. He went to the podium earlier this week. I thought he did a great, great job, if you want to dig down into the weeds here, of breaking down the cornerbacks. Time goes by, months go by, and you might, kind of forget a little bit, right? Who's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Shadon Brown with a breakdown of the corners in the cornerbacks room.
So we've got 7 guys working in that group right now in that room. A few of those returners, obviously, that are really doing a great job. Andrew Wilson-Lamp is a returner who played down the stretch for us, who's made a big jump this offseason. Really proud of his development. Malachi Ruffin is a young man who stepped in last year when we had some injuries that played a lot for us. He's back. He's a guy that's played a lot of football on specialty teams as well as on defense. Obviously, Jacoby Spells is a guy who was a young player last year, a freshman that was thrown into action early, and he was kind of a little bit of a trial and error by fire out there in some games, but he's gotten bigger and he's gotten stronger this offseason, and looking forward to him making a big jump. And then Jalen Shelton is a young man who got here late last year. He arrived in July of last season prior to training camp. Maybe I think he was 7 days out prior to camp. So he came in and he was a little behind everybody else from a developmental standpoint, not only physically but mentally. And last year was a redshirt year for him. He's back this year, obviously. Then you look at the transfers and the newcomers. Montre Miller, transfer from Kent State, is in the fold now with us. Got here in January. He's doing a great job learning the schemes. He's changed his body. I think he arrived, he was 173 pounds. He's around 188 to 190 already in a short amount of time. So Mike Joseph and his crew and Haley and Nutrition has done a great job of transforming his body. And then Josiah Jackson's a freshman player that's come in from recruiting in the 23 class, who's done a great job picking everything up. Things are really fast for him right now, but he is improving. Today, he was able to flash a little bit for us today. So I'm pleased with his progress. And that's the guys kind of rounding out the corner group that I feel like have a chance to be on the grass for us in the fall.
How about that?
It was a great breakdown.
That was a great breakdown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why'd your eyes pop open when he gave that weight gain?
That's pretty impressive. That's a 15-pound jump.
Well,
15 plus.
We all do that.
Yeah, this is probably a better 15 than the rest of us.
Don't you do that 15 pounds?
I do, but mine's Reese egg fueled, not Mike Joseph weight room fueled.
Go for good times. Go for Gomar.
See, okay, he said some interesting things in there because we know we're going to spend a ton of time on quarterbacks. We're going to talk a lot about receivers, right?
Right.
But that defensive backfield, as we all know, everybody listening to this, we know it. Neil knows it. Shadon knows. They all know it. That has got to take a massive leap forward. That defensive backfield has to get a ton better. Montre Miller's really interesting because he's played at the Division I level. Now he needs to be one of those guys, and we've seen West Virginia have success with this. Alonzo Odai, maybe the most recent, Charles Woods right in there. Guys that have come from a different level up to this and have had success. He needs to be that guy this year, right? He's got to step in and be very good. And then I'm interested to watch both Jacoby Spells and Andrew Wilson-Lamp. Guys you heard the coaches talk a lot about last year, showed some flashes as really young guys that were having to play when they probably shouldn't have had to play. How far forward did they get in this last year? They've gotten better. There's no doubt they've gotten better. What's that sliding scale of how much better? Because suddenly if they take a big leap forward and those guys are really good and Miller's good, okay, now you feel really good about that position where middle of last year you're going, man, you need some help back here. These guys have to start coming forward, and they just didn't quite get where you needed them to.
You know what history also tells us? Okay, you give everyone year one, learning year. If they're going to be really good players, they're going to be really good this year. Follow what I'm saying? If you're going to identify and be a really good player, you'll be really good in your second year. If you're not really good in your second year, that's probably what you become in your third year and your fourth year. The really good ones, by the time they're in there as their sophomore year or their second season out there and they played a lot as a freshman and then the second year comes, if they go and you go like stud, it's a stud. If it's just like, he's okay, chances are, he's just okay.
Those two also, though, had the first part of that is you've got to show a little bit as a freshman, too, when you get in, right? It doesn't have to be sustained success over 12 because they're not going to do that as a freshman. But there's got to be those moments where you go, did you see that game Wilson-Lamp had on Saturday? That was really good. Correct. There's got to be those type of moments, multiple of those moments. Spells and Wilson-Lamp did that. They had that last year.
Another huge area to build, the defensive line. Andrew Jackson is the line coach. What up?
It's going well. It's exciting because you kind of have to see where you're at again. But I do have a guy that won a starting job last year, so I have a little bit of a guy to lean on with Sean. Eddie V has been a worker all the time, so it's good to now him to have a solidified role and be a leader. And then it's good to push Mike Lockhart and Hammond Russell to have a spot. And then Day-Day Hawkins has been a nice bright spot of energy.
So that's what you got going there. And again, same deal. You're hoping guys take the next step up. But will not be surprised if West Virginia doesn't make a very hard move post-spring in the portal to get a couple more defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Had a nice pickup with Lockhart last year. I thought he was solid in relief. Now, can he be the lead guy? But you need to go get a couple more of those guys. So you just have to kind of wait. I'm sure conversations are happening as we speak. See who's going to pop in there.
He's had a bunch of names there you've heard. This is really the first time, though, in a number of years, West Virginia's gone into this season without a bona fide superstar on the defensive line. Right? A bunch of guys' names you know. So can Sean Martin be that guy this year? Is he the guy that breaks through and is the one that other teams game plan around? So Martin certainly one to watch. Lockhart, you mentioned Hammond Russell was a name. Eddie V, you heard a lot last year. Day-Day Hawkins, I like just because they call him Day-Day. I like that.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with the Day-Day. You mentioned Sean Martin. Andrew Jackson on expectations for the young man from Bluefield.
Sean's biggest growth is his consistency. He's not going to be a guy that says a whole lot, but I think that he's taken a major step from, beating a guy out and earning a role to now being a guy that's going to be a guy that we can rely on to make plays every series. I expect Sean to take off, be an all-conference player. I expect him to close off one side of the field. I'm not necessarily going to put pressure on him to be one of the next Still brothers coming up, but I think he should be a playmaker for us.
Boom.
Well, sorry, I just put the pressure on him. So is he the next guy up to be? But that's what you're talking about, an all-conference type of guy,
Yes.
right?
You got to have success, you have to have all-conference guys. If you got a bunch of honorable mention guys, not happening.
And he was one, fought through some injuries last year, but when he was healthy, there was multiple times where you looked down and said, that's Sean Martin back there again. Oh, there's Sean Martin again. Hey, look at Sean Martin over there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to be the guy to come forth.
Yes.
Think Andrew Jackson does any voiceover time, or is he too busy? Because he could.
No, he could definitely do voiceover.
Yeah.
Absolutely could do voiceover. I tell him that all the time.
Yeah.
He says, people tell me that.
Oh.
I wonder if there's any jobs on Indeed.com. Like he gets on there at night, maybe like do a little voice. What do you think? A little voiceover work.
Might.
Yeah.
He's a little busier, though. He's going more than once a week like Harler was.
Yeah, that's true.
Chase had some time.
Chase had some time. Let's do this thing, shall we? Yeah, baby. Feel like that drummer.
Hold on.
Start the band here with the Slim Jims.
I'm bringing the Macho Man back out for this part. Macho Man front and center for Textual Healing. Yeah, that is a good song.
Yeah, I know it's a good song.
Maybe it's morning here, got you going, got the juices flowing a little bit. That's a good tune. Saab did a nice job on that.
So here are some details on our live event, which is coming up the night before the spring football game.
Is this approved?
Yeah. It will take place on Friday, April the 21st. We will start again mid-afternoon. We're going to do the same time schedule because it worked really well the first time through. And tickets will go on sale next week on the website. We'll give you all the information on Monday's show.
Okay. We're comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Tickets on sale next week.
Tickets on sale next week. Again,
standard disclaimer. You got to go fat. Get in there.
A limited number of tickets will be on sale starting next week. And the Slim Jims that you see, we got a whole lot more of those. We'll be giving away Slim Jims as well. Random Slim Jim distribution, and we're going to give away that Macho Man deal.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I kind of like that on the set.
Plus, chances are this T-shirt here, so we meet again. See what they did there? Slim Jim, one of the fine meats.
We do have to save some Slim Jim items for Hunter, though, since he did kind of begin this. Yeah. You coined the fly rod Slim Jim, but he's the one that made the purchase.
Yeah, and we all have some Gomart stuff. They sent stuff out as well.
Oh, that's a nice shirt.
We got Gomart hats.
I think that shirt. Did I see that in multiple colors in your office?
Yeah, it's gold, it's blue,
gray.
Yep.
Speaking of gear, I'm surprised we've gone this long. You haven't commented on my gear.
That's a nice one. That's the first time you wore that one.
There's two things about this, if you can see it, right?
Look through Mandy Macho Man's head.
Macho Man's in the way.
Macho Man, why your head so big?
Why your head so big? Here's the other thing about this. It must come with a couple internal ring lights too. Is this the whitest thing you've ever seen? Like I'm like triple backlit here. This thing's so bright. But you know what I did here on this one? If you look at the screen right there, the extensive and complicated color scheme we have with 3 guys before the game on the graphic.
You hit it perfectly.
I did the same thing.
You're a clone. You say these hats are really good. 47 hats?
Yeah, 47 brand's a nice hat. That's what those are? Yeah,
47s.
nice.
Yeah, bingo dingo. Once again, get your GoMart rewards card. Go to gomart.com. Ready to do some texts?
By the way, just to circle back on the ring light quarter zip, these will be hopefully available for sale soon as well. We're working.
One of the things we're going to do on the night of the event is we are going to release our future plans for the show. We'll make those public. And what our thought is. We'll let you know on all that. And apparel will also be, I think we may have a little pop-up store as well, apparel-wise.
Because people have been asking for that. We understand you're asking.
Yes.
We get it. Thank you. We're efforting.
Yes. All right, here we go. 3 guys, textual healing. 3 guys, P1 listener here. And for those who don't know what a P1 listener is, it means someone that just ingests everything, doesn't miss a beat. A lot of talk about quarterback, who will be the starter. I don't think it matters. Both are about equal in skill. I think both will play evenly. The nature of a running quarterback is they get hurt. I hope it doesn't happen, but it's common. Look at Kansas. Great till the quarterback got hurt. Good news, when one gets banged, we got another go. This is signed by Jonah, living on one of those land structures you talk about in Doddridge County. P.S. Tony, when you ask your CPA about federal taxes, I believe his response will be efforting.
Should be.
Well, when I talk to my tax accountant, it's a she. She. There's women.
Is she mad at you too? Because you've got basically the whole CPA industry in West Virginia and other parts mad at you.
No, she doesn't mind.
She doesn't listen?
No, she
must not listen.
Well, I don't know if she listens, but she doesn't mind because she gets the last laugh. She sends me that bill.
Yeah, Bill's a little extra this year.
Oh, Tony made a CPA comment here.
Tony,
Here's another
Tony
billable
thinks
hour.
He's funny? How funny is this?
Yeah, here's a billable hour for you. Texter. Tip for differentiating between what a forward slash and a backward slash is.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the slash as a person standing up, facing to the right as you write or type. From the bottom of the person, the slash is leaning forward. So this is a forward slash.
What?
Look.
Huh?
So you got this. That's a slash waiting to happen. When you tip it to the right, it's a forward slash because the top is here. So if the person slash is leaning backwards, look at Johnny's leaning backwards, that's a backslash. Backwards, forward. Backward.
Which side of the word?
Forward.
Which side's the domain name on?
Well, the way we read, left to right.
I'm more confused.
Weisenheimer.
I'm more confused.
Texter. Tony, I always found it humorous. People say, don't make a call at the end of the game that changes the outcome. Well, either way, it changes the game.
Thank you.
If the rule says it's a foul, regardless if it's 5 seconds into the game or 0.5 seconds left, it is a foul. Call the game at the end, just like at the beginning, according to the rules. Yeah. There was another piece to this. I missed that. A lot of controversy also on this. Shocker, right? Charlie in Midlothian that was scamming the system over at Kroger. When he do his fuel points, he got the wife comes to the other side of the island, and he switches, pulls the thing out.
Well, you said he was scamming the system. I don't know that it was determined that he was scamming. That was your version of it.
I don't think that's the way the people drew it up. Tony, I just finished watching a documentary, Blue Demon, a West Virginia legacy, about the North Fork basketball team. Am I mistaken, or is that you on the call of the 1984 AA championship game? What a career. George Princeton, originally from the great state of McDowell County. No, that was not me. I never saw North Fork play. My first state tournament experience is like 86-ish. 86-ish. There you go. Did we read this last time? Yeah, we did. That was last time. And I'm apologizing for this because I didn't print these today. Texter, I want to bring something up that's a pet peeve of mine. There comes a heater. Here comes a heater.
Here it comes.
Along the same lines as the time zone fiasco. Why do news sites continue to use the W.VA abbreviations in articles? We have idiots across the country that do not realize West Virginia is its own state. They think we're part of Virginia. Why do we continue to use this WVA abbreviation that associates with Virginia when the abbreviation of WV is accepted nationally? Maybe Hoppy can provide a good explanation, being the prestigious journalist that he is. Well, he may be able to do that if he show up once every few months.
Save that text if you can. September, when he returns, we'll ask him that.
Poor buddy. I feel for him. I really do. I had a report earlier this week.
Yeah, he was totally flustered, wasn't he?
Yeah, so got a report from a guy today who works here that saw Kercheval in the parking lot this week. Kercheval is the king of these staycations, all right? And he just takes these little day trips. So he was going out to the Eastern Panhandle.
His home territory.
Brother lives out there, right? Brother Nick.
Nick.
And so Hoppy wanted to take some of his beer, Kercheval, to his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Sure. Why wouldn't you?
I told him, you don't need, dude. They sell it at the Bavarian Inn, which is right by where you're going there.
So you could travel with the empty growler, go where you're going, fill it, and you're right there at Brother Nick's house. You just go over and see Nick. You got full growlers of beer.
Yeah, but he just kind of gave me that blank, like, stare, like, fine, but I'm not listening to what you're saying.
He didn't want to do that.
He goes, where do I get it? Well, I said, you can go over here and get it at Chestnut Brew Works. They make it.
Comes from there.
You might want to get it there, right? So the last report we got, that night I didn't see him. Then I got a report from a guy who works here today. See your boy? I said, what was he doing? Walking around the parking lot out in front here yesterday.
Kind of in circles.
In circles, he said, with a pissed off attitude, like mad at himself attitude. He had 3 of the big 64-ounce glass growlers, like two through the finger hole here,
right.
and another
Clutching.
one like wedged between his arm, empty. And my guy says to him, what's up? He goes, I can't find my beer. Can't find the beer. Like, okay. Welcome to the world. You just created the most popular craft beer in West Virginia going, and you can't get a hold of it, and you're mad. You might want to call ahead on that.
Well, or show up to work on the podcast. We've been saying it's been sold out in a lot of places.
Yeah.
At least you would have known what was coming.
Yeah. With you. Texter, Tony, you probably don't remember me, but a couple of years ago at the West Virginia State basketball tournament, you did a cameo with me for my grandfather's birthday. I want to thank you for all the joy that video brought him when I was a child. Saturdays were filled with Jack and Woody and you bringing all the sights and sounds of Mountaineer football to my grandparents' farmhouse in Wirt County. Mind you, that was the 3-channel era, so very seldom were the games on TV, but we could watch Woody on Mountaineer magazine. For many years, my grandfather, my uncles, and I listened to the play-by-play of Mountaineer games in that old house. My grandfather never was one for some TV sportscaster to announce Mountaineer football and basketball. Now, he would occasionally mute the TV, turn the radio up, but he seemed happiest just relaxing on his Davenport and listening. My grandfather is now 84, and he still listens religiously.
Tell me he actually wrote Davenport.
He did.
Yes.
He did. Thank you very much. Capitalized it, too. Also, in 2013, I was in Germany for a wedding. While we were at the reception in a castle in the town of Gießen, the whole crowd started in on country roads. I will say the Germans can party, as they closed down the castle at 5 a.m., and by 9 a.m. we were heading back to take a day trip down the Rhine River and view all the castles. Lastly, my wife and I have a Bayliner VR6 boat. I know it's not a sternwheeler for a Grand River cruise, but we could hook up the inner tube behind and pull you 3 up and down the mighty Ohio while you sip Kirchhoff Ale.
Appreciate that.
Just an idea for some great summer fun. Keep up the great work. Love the show. Stephen in Ward County.
That was a strong email. A lot of castles, the Rhine. The only thing better is if Ruoff would have been in one of the castles when they visited. You know, he's a big castle guy.
Yeah, lo
when he
and
played in
behold.
Germany. Big castle guy.
Mm-hmm. Texter. Hola, Trey Hombres. This is just a thought that popped into my head. I wondered if you had any insight. What is it that it seems the chasm between the richest and the less wealthy schools is growing in college football, but on the other hand, we have a year like this in college basketball where the underdogs from smaller schools have dominated the composition of the Final Four? The quick answer to that is you need less players.
Yes. Football,
You got to have a bunch. In basketball, you just got to hit on a few, and you can become competitive.
But it's also, real quick, it's also why I continue to say the NIL, I don't know that it changes it fundamentally than what it's been. Alabama, allegedly, has always had the resources to get more people than some of the other schools. Did you see that report on FAU's collective?
What is it?
Had $0 in it
What's
previously.
it got now?
Had zero. Up to like 500,000 now.
Yeah.
Which that's a big jump for them. Reportedly, they're keeping their head coach, Dusty May, and they have suddenly found, didn't have him before, got worried Dusty May might leave, suddenly have found $10 million to put into their facilities that need an upgrade.
Wow.
So things change, right?
Texter also, is there something these schools have done that could be a model for schools like West Virginia who are in the middle of the Pac and Power 5 conferences? Look forward to your thoughts. Jason, Mason County landowner.
Of course.
So the short answer again, and I do appreciate you very much, Josh, for writing in. Short answer is like when you go out there and you make these payments or go get these guys, you got to hit on them.
Got to get guys
I
that
mean,
hit, yes.
you got to get ROI on your investment in your NIL. In other words, you just can't pay players that are supposed to be good. They better be good and they better deliver. That's what's happening with these schools that are having success. The players are playing. They're making plays. So, yeah, you can do it. You can absolutely do it here. Texter, Brad from Winchester. Hello, you guys need to let me know when the Kirchhoff Ale cans come out. I'll call up my boy who owns an 18-wheeler and a hound dog. We'll fill up his cab with Hoppy, and I'll divert Smokey in my Trans Am while the boy hauls that liquid gold to other states. Virginia's first in line. It's a fail-proof plan. Thank you very much. Yeehaw. So he's willing to do the whole Smokey and Bandit thing in real life to get Kirchhoff Ale. By the way, for those coming to our event, that's the focus of our live event on the 21st of April is going to be, it's going to be the release
of the cans.
16-ounce cans of Kirchhoff Ale.
So we've now got an 18-wheeler at our disposal. It's very good because I also think, and maybe I didn't hear him correctly, but I think we've procured aircraft, haven't we, as well?
Oh, yeah.
We were working at Daniels the other day, both of us. You were in doing a shift.
Brad and I were working a shift at Daniels this week. Gentleman comes in, identifies.
Brent from Accident, Maryland was
lovely
in.
baby. Had a lovely
That'd be
baby.
Grant. Baby was Grant.
Baby.
Super cute,
Grant
nice
was
kid.
cute.
Smiled.
And so Brent told us that he's a corporate pilot. So I think, as far as I know, what last we left it, that he'll fly us wherever we want to go.
I'm pretty sure that was what was discussed. Grant was on board with that too.
And fly citations too.
So Brent can back up. We were working a shift.
Yeah.
Came from the back room. We were doing stuff in the back room.
Had a meeting going.
Wasn't up front with the mannequin like I normally am. In the back room, Brent was there getting I got a nice Peter Millar shirt.
He
out
did.
of that deal.
Well, when you fly, you got to fly. I mean,
Got to look good.
dude, he's not flying a crop duster. He's flying corporate jets. He's flying a citation. You got to look good.
Yeah. So that's what I took. That we now have a jet available.
Charlie from Midlothian. Oh, here we go again. This is the Gulf. This is the gas guzzler. We really appreciate Professor Vinny's efforting on Monday to astutely and without bias clear my name with regard to the Kroger Fuel Point gamification when filling up our vehicles. Already have over $7 to play with for April, and since Friday's my 72nd birthday, I'll be taking advantage of the 4X Fridays for groceries.
Charlie might work his way into a guest speaker for Vinny's class here shortly.
P.S. My brother shared with me your gamification suggestion as to how people can crash the closed scrimmages as coaches. Ha, 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 ha. I'm okay if you want to leave off the PS part. Just having fun, Tony. No, man, you're all in, Charlie. Anyone that lives in Midlothian, good with us. Texter. Hey, fellas, Matt and Mingo. With the up and down kind of a roller coaster year we just went through in basketball got me thinking. I'd like to hear your inputs on this. With such a disappointing end to this season, which season do you think was more disappointing? The end of the 2016 with the loss to Stephen F. Austin, or the 2020 season and the cancellation of the conference and NCAA? If you had one to change, which would it be? We had really strong teams both years, could have made a deep push, but they both were just devastating to us diehard fans. Thank you.
Those are good. That's a hard pick. That's a pick 'em.
I would like to see the Stephen F. Austin game become a victory and go into the tournament and see if we can make some hay.
That was a 3-seed year. That was a 14 over a 3. What was their guy? Thomas something?
Yeah,
because I can see him.
Boy had a beard. I mean, you would think if he wasn't playing in that game, he would have been the first guy to brew Kirchhoff.
Yeah.
He had a weird name, weird last name. What was it?
Walk up. That's it.
Thomas Walk Up.
Walk up.
Yeah, he walked up, walked down, stepped on our face, slandered our name all over the place. Whew. Beat the hell out of us. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Bad loss. Whew, bad loss.
Is that all the text?
No. Tony's baseball career has officially added blue station
Hold on.
wagon.
There's Walk Up. Get him off.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Man, he was good. Give the dude a ton of credit.
He would enjoy some Kirchhoff, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
He was really good that night.
He had a good career. He had a really good career.
He was a great player. Terrific, as some say.
Tony's baseball career has officially added blue station wagons to the group of oppressed people by 3 guys before the game, rounding out the grouping of accountants, Australians, and poets from Iowa. My family has had land since 1824 in Braxton County. Family farm is on the land gifted for service in the American Revolution. The Flatwoods Go-Mart brings back so many childhood memories. Thanks for all of the laughs, Lane in Winchester, Virginia.
Now that's a strong one. So they've had land before the low water mark.
Oh, yeah, way before.
Of the Ohio.
1824.
Yeah. Because what was the low water mark, 1877?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Go-Mart looked like in 1824 there in Flatwoods.
So it's definitely only one building, not the 2 they have now. So start there.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Hey, by the way, at that Salvation Army luncheon,
Yeah.
I didn't eat a ton, but I was at the buffet.
Yeah.
Guy came up to me, Pat from Wheeling.
Sure.
Huge 3 Guys listener.
Yeah.
So I got the opportunity to talk with him. And I asked him the question we often ask people. Why? He said, why what? Why do you listen? He says, because it seems like it's just guys that are just sitting around like we would sit around busting, people.
That's about right.
I said, yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah, he had it. It was really good to see him. Texter, oh, here he comes. Professor Vinny in Chicago, professor of gamification. I'm currently efforting a gamified podcast idea for the show. My initial idea was to have the texters send in selfie pictures of themselves drinking Kirchhoff at different locations. Individuals who find the sought-after beer at the most locations win free 3 Guys merchandise. Or individuals who pick up Kirchhoff and bring it with them to different locations. Like I would love to see someone drinking a can at the Grand Canyon. You can call it Have Kirchhoff Will Travel. Individuals who travel the farthest can win free merchandise. That's really good.
It's good. Send that, because they're probably not listening. Send that to the sales folks. That's a good idea.
Where?
Do we have sales folks? All right, fine. We'll handle it. Got it. Never mind. We'll handle it. Get a sponsor for that. We'll handle it.
But he ends up by saying, I can come up with something better. Give me a week. My students are a little busy with the final project.
Understood.
It's that time of the year. And that's a good look, I understand what he's saying, and that's a really, really good way to do it. Keep in mind, it's already kind of happened. We had the young lady wear the 3 Guys hat in front of the Eiffel Tower, right? So, yeah, exactly. Doody-doo.
Here, I got more merch here. Can I show some merch that was sent to me? Was not sent to you. Specifically says, for Brad Howe. Typed. And it's bigger font. See how the font gets smaller?
Yeah, I see it.
It's hard to see because I'm so bright over here with my 5 ring light quarter zip on. It says, for Brad Howe, the only true believer from CL in Clarksburg.
CL's
Loyal
terrific.
3 guys.
Yeah, terrific.
Listener. Send me this shirt, Tony.
What's it?
It says, protected by Mothman.
Huh. Imagine that.
Only sent to me
That's fine.
as the only true believer.
You need the shirt. I know the guy. That's fine.
Thank you, CL.
CL, thank you. Texter, Tony, this is Barry in Salt Lake City. I wanted to respond to the question of whether Americans pay taxes when overseas. See, I am a CPA, but do have the time to respond since I'm a retired partner with Ernst & Young. First, Americans are taxed on their worldwide income, so it does not matter where you earn income in the world. Uncle Sam takes his cut. For example, I lived in Russia for 4 years in the early 2000s, and I paid tax in Russia, 12% flat rate, then also paid U.S. taxes at our graduated rates, with the 12% I paid to Russia serving as a credit against my U.S. tax liability. You probably do not remember, but back in the early 2000s, I would call in periodically to Sportsline as Barry from Russia. And I think you were amazed anyone was dumb enough to stay up that late and call in from halfway around the world. I love what you guys are doing with this podcast, and have referred it to many Mountaineer fans who are not local like me. That should earn me a kerchief ale from you guys the next time I visit, huh? Keep up the fantastic work.
It would, but as demonstrated earlier, we don't even have access to kerchief ale.
Poor kerchief ale doesn't
I mean, the
have
guy
access.
whose name is on it can't get it, but we would.
We'll
effort that, Barry. Thank you.
Well, there's going to be kerchief ale on April 21st in
There is.
cans.
There is.
And folks that come are going to be, that'll be in their swag bag as well.
Just order quick.
I do remember, Barry. Barry, I do remember you. So you're in Salt Lake now. You were in Russia. He was buddies with Johnny Gianola.
Awesome.
Johnny Ernst and Young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So did we do any? That was good. So how long have we gone?
I don't know, 4.5 hours. I think there's another show going on in the studio maybe after us. They're now late.
There is in 15 minutes.
Well, he's trying to get ready. We're in here jacking around with Mothman shirts and
that's a
Slim Jims.
That's a really solid point. We
probably need to vacate so he can get into a real show.
Probably need to leave, because if that were you and I right now and we wanted to come in and do the show, we'd be going.
Well, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. I'd be in here already.
3 guys before the game with a $10,000 savings right now on the Forest River Rockwood Ultralight 5th wheel. Check them out at BurdettCamping.com. By Comax Business Systems, Bob and the gang, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. If you need your business to feel safer and more secure when it comes to your business data, you need phone systems. Trust me when I tell you, you'll have a wonderful experience. They'll come in and give you a free estimate of what's it going to cost from 1 line to 1,000. ComaxWV.com. Don't forget, sign up at Gomart.com for the Egg Extravagant prizes all the way through the month of April, including a $500 Gomart gift card. And by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They sell family fun, and 'tis the season. Looking for that right pontoon boat? Check them out. Go to their website, LouWendellMarineSales.com. 40-plus years doing it, and they can make you have a happy, happy summer selling the Avalon boat, manufactured right here in the United States. LouWendellMarineSales.com. All right, we're out. Back again on Monday. We'll talk about spring practice and stuff. Final Four will have us down to the championship game. Mountaineer baseball team will be completed with its 3-game weekend series against Kansas State. We're also getting really close to the hiring of a women's basketball coach at West Virginia. By Monday, who knows? We might have a little sniff as to who it could be. Right?
Soon.
And the information on our event. Tickets go on sale next week. That's all we have. See y'all.